Hi, my name is Colin. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to introduce to you what are the job options in the music industry and in academia. In the future months, I'm going to be making separate videos to give you more specific details on each job, so stay tuned. The first job I want to introduce to you is music performer. By getting a bachelor degree, a master's degree, or a doctoral degree in piano, guitar, voice, violin, or any other instruments, you can teach privately and perform as a freelancer, which means you can gig at nightclubs, weddings, and cruises. If you're exceptionally talented, you can earn a full-time position at a national orchestra like the San Francisco Symphony. If you're amazing sight reading skill, you can play and record music for the Hollywood Film Scoring Orchestra or the Budapest Scoring Orchestras. They constantly get gigs recording music for films, games, and VR. If you're a very patriotic person, you can join a military band. In all across the countries, military bands always hire full-time musicians. The next job I want to introduce to you is choral conductor. By getting a master's or a doctoral degree in choral conducting, you can conduct for a church choir, a youth choir, boys choir, girls choir, a mixed choir. The next job I want to introduce to you is instrumental conductor. By getting a master or a doctoral degree in instrumental conducting, you can conduct for a community band or a community orchestra or a military band. You can even conduct for a national orchestra like San Francisco Symphony if you're exceptionally talented. Another option is that you can also conduct for recording sections for film, games, and VR because not every media composer knows how to conduct. Here we have piano accompanist. By getting a master or a doctoral degree in collaborative piano, you can accompany singers, opera, church service, orchestra, choir, and you can even teach at a university for piano accompaniment. And nowadays, a lot of universities, they hire a part-time or full-time piano accompanist to accompany students' recitals. Next, we have this general music teacher. By getting a bachelor degree in music education plus 1 year to get your teaching credentials, you get to teach at a public school at elementary, middle, or high school level. Within the studies, you get to learn the basics of many instruments and basics of vocal techniques. If you have the passions to teach children how to play instruments or sing, this career is definitely for you. Oh, and also, if you're not a fan of the public school system, you can also teach at the private school with this skill set. The last job I want to introduce to you in the music academia field is being a music professor. This requires you to get a doctoral degree or a PhD in the specialization that you choose from. Now, here's the list of the specializations. We have music performance, choral conducting, instrumental conducting, musicology, ethnomusicology, music education, music theory, music compositions, and music technology. By specializing in one of those categories that I just stated, you get to teach that subject and do research in that subject in the universities that you're working for. Let me clarify some of the specializations here. For music performance, you basically specialize in one particular instrument like piano, violin, or guitar, and you just teach that specific instrument to the students at the university that you're working for. For musicology and ethnomusicology, there's a slight difference between the two. Musicology is basically you do research in Western music. It can be a particular country's music or particular composers' music like Beethoven, Bach, or Mozart. And for ethnomusicology, you basically do research in a specific countries that is non-Western, such as Chinese music, Mongolian music, or African music. But both, you have to teach music history at the same time and some music appreciation courses to non-music majors. Now, moving on, let me introduce you the jobs in the music industry. The first one is being a music performer. You can specialize in instruments like bass, guitar, drums, vocal, saxophone, being a singer-songwriter. So by having a skill in one of those instruments or vocal, you get to perform at a huge venue, be up on TV for interviews and performance. It's basically, in other words, you be a celebrity or rock star. Next, I want to introduce to you sound engineer. So to be a sound engineer, you have to know how to use Pro Tools and the SX board to record music for full orchestra, like at a film scoring sections, or you can record music at a small studio for celebrities, freelance musicians. And you might be wondering, is that should be audio? Why do you put it in the music? It's because being a sound engineer, you have to have a musical background. You have to know like how to read the time signature, program the metronome or the click tracks in 4/4, 3/4, and different meters. You have to know those basic terms like crescendo, decrescendos. If if the composer says the orchestra didn't play loud enough on measure 22, uh, the composer might say, "I want. Can you bring out the crescendos on measure 22?" Then you know crescendo means get louder. Then you just pull up the faders or draw the volume automations on measure 22 to achieve this result. So anyhow, so being a sound engineer, you do need a musical background. Next, we have film and game composer. For this job, a lot of people have a bachelor degree in composition and a master's degree in film scoring. Again, you don't have to have a degree to be a film and game composer. So what do you do in this job is you write the music for the entire film, game, or VR, and you get to record your music with a full orchestra. So this is a very exciting job because a lot of times nowadays people like to fly into different countries to record their music. So it's kind of like a very professional job. If you're the type of person who likes to travel around the world to record music, and being a freelancer, take on many different projects, then this job is for you. Now, I want to introduce classical composer. This job is probably a little bit more competitive than being a film and game composer because nowadays there are more people listening to pop music than classical music. So, for being a classical composer, you get to write music for orchestra, choir, and you even have options to write music for public school, choir, and band, like marching band, choir, orchestra, and concert band. So there's actually a little bit more options than you think for this job. Let me clarify one thing. I do recommend you to get a bachelor degree at least. A master or a PhD is even better, but you don't have to. Now here we have this music editor. Usually a music editor has a bachelor or master's degree in music technology or film and game scoring. So the job for a music editor is to put together a temporary score for test screening. So what does that mean? Before the film gets put up in a theater like AMC or Cinemark, the film was screened many times at a private theater with random audience came in to watch the film. After the audience watched the film, the director and other staff will ask them, "Do you guys understand the film? Or is there any part you think we need to do any adjustments before the release?" And during this process, the film needs temporary music, right? So this is what the music editor did. He or she provided temporary music with pre-existing music that was made from previous movies and chop it in and glue it into this film. However, the whatever the music editor did during this process won't be ending up in the actual film because there's always a film composer who has been working the actual music for the film. You're gonna be asking me, why not the actual film composers be involved in this process? The answer is the film composer was probably very busy working on the actual score, so usually the actual film composers won't be involved in this process. Next here we have is electronic music producers. For those of you who likes to make EDM music or beats with Ableton or Logic Pro, then this job is for you. Some of them do have a bachelor degree in commercial music, but again, you don't have to have a degree to be a electronic music producers. So after you put together the music with synthesizers, music sample library, and record the vocals, you get to take your music and perform at large venue like EDC or raves. And for those of you who likes to party all night and showcasing your music, then this job is for you. The last three jobs I want to introduce to you are on the music business side. You don't have to have a strong musical background, but it's good to have one. The first job I want to introduce to you in the music business side is being a music agent. You do need a bachelor degree or a master's degree in music business, but again, you don't have to have one. So you usually work for a specific band or singer. So every time when the band or the singer releases an album and put it up on sale, setting up dates for world tour, setting up dates to be up on TV, answering emails or updating their websites, you do all those tasks as a music agent. The second job I want to introduce to you in the music business side is music supervisor. Being a music supervisor, you work for a specific film or a television company. So, what you do is that you recruit composers for projects, budgeting for recording sections, managing contracts, or dealing with any copyright issues like using someone else's music and you have to get the permissions for the company. And you do have to have very good interpersonal skills to do so. Usually, a music supervisor has a bachelor degree or a master's degree in music business, but again, you don't have to have a music business degree to do so. The third job I want to introduce to you in the music business side is music journalist. So, a music journalist is someone who writes reviews and descriptions for upcoming songs or album for professional singers online. Usually, you have to be able to write the same thing in multiple languages. You don't have to have a musical background to do so, as long as you can write what the songs or the albums are about to the audience for promotional purposes. These are all the jobs I want to introduce to you in the academia and in the music industry. Hopefully, I provided you some insight what you want to pursue in your music career. If you like my video, give me a like. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. If you have any question, leave your comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And I look forward to see you guys on my next video. Bye!